Hi. I was walking through Harris Farm with Alan when he visited Sydney last week, and I saw some wonderful beef. I had to buy it, I had to make stew. I've now had a phone call from Alan saying, Mick, I need the recipe. So what better way than to put it on film and show him what to do. You know, he's not a good cook. Okay, let's start. Alan, first of all, you need the basic onion, but I prefer to use a leek. Make sure you cut the outer part of the leek off and chop it very finely. Only use the white part. I'm going to add a little bit of celery. I won't use all of this, but I really love the flavour that fennel gives. I will show you in a moment how we cut it across this way so that we can cut this core out. We don't want that tough core. We really only want to handle you'll see this in a moment. Okay, when that's frying up, if you want to put a little bit of spice in it, a little Asian flavour, I'll use an inch or so of this and chop it very, very finely. The ginger, the chilli, but I won't add the garlic so soon in the piece because, you know, garlic burns, and when it burns, it's bitter. After that's all done, we'll then dice a nice swede. Some people call it a turnip. We'll do a carrot. Unfortunately, I don't have any parsnips. I like the root vegetables in these. And of course, when that's all cooked, we'll add at the last thing the mushrooms. Okay, nice mushies. We'll slice those in a moment too. I would take all of that off then because that's being done at a lower heat. We don't want any of that to burn. But when we put the chuck beef steak in, which I got the butcher to dice for me, into nice sized pieces. You don't want it any smaller than that, or when you brown it, it will go into hard little chunks. I'd even made it a little bigger if I were you. Then I put that on the pan with some olive oil. Thank you, Hunju. This has come all the way from Chile. It's absolutely delicious. But I'm going to put it into the stew nonetheless. And fry that up. While it's frying, I prefer to use cumin, but I don't have any, so we'll use a bit of oregano on it. And when that's all fried, I don't use salt. I'll use a lot of pepper, but instead of salt, I'll sprinkle it over the beef while it's cooking, beef stock or beef cubes. Also, if you think you need to add the salt content, try a little bit of soy sauce. That's nice. Okay, so once that's all done, you've got some nice brown on the bottom of the pan. This pan, by the way, that I'm using, it must be a heavy-based saucepan. Le Creuset is very good, but I use this one. It's got a good base, and in fact 30 years ago, you won't believe this, Alan, Unedited and the sales force went from Sydney to Manila, and as a thank you to me, she had the responsibility of what to buy. Would you believe she bought me a saucepan? And 30 years later, I still have it. Thanks, Juanita. So, where do we get to? Once we get that meat browned, there's nice brown stuff on the bottom of the pan. We're going to be using a cup of red wine in this, so I think a good cup of a nice red wine, and we scrape with a wooden spoon all of the burnt pieces off, and that will add to the flavour. Then I like to add some tomato. There's nothing better than diced tomatoes. 99 cents at Woolworths, this one. Very good. And then we're ready to go. Okay, I'll start chopping these things up and we'll continue for part 2. Oh, you're still going.